Good morning, phono friends. Don Wilson here. Wanted to show you some of my latest progress. Some of you may have seen the videos that I've done recently about the work on diamond discs, including the new 12-inch, even psychedelic versions of the 12-inch diamond disc sample records. But most of the discs that I have to offer are very early 7-inch. They're some of the rarest discs and ones I really enjoy making, and I wanted to show some of the progress that I've been making on those. If you've seen them so far, most of them have been a gloss back. Here's an example where you can see the reflection quite well in it, including the back of the room. It's almost a mirror-like finish from being pressure cast in an open mold. So the back of the disc sits in open air, but since it's under high pressure, no bubbles or foaming is allowed to form, and that gives it such a smooth finish. Of course, actual Berliners did not have that kind of finish. They have a finish that is very similar to this. This is a new one that I've created with a process to try to replicate the finish that's found on the back of a Berliner. While it's not identical, it is very close. The original Berliners sat on a steel plate while being pressed, so that gives a little bit of a different texture. And I also believe that there was some finishing steps that added additional texture around the spindle hole. With these, it's a pattern that I add to the back while they're being cast, still very close. And for those who are conscious of the preservation of history, as with all discs that leave the door, all of them are clearly marked in the back, engraved with a diamond bit, made in 2018 or whatever the year is. So the finish has been one of the improvements. Also, since I've been doing this long enough that there's 1,000 plus of my discs in circulation, that a few hundred people have tried them on some really unusual machines. And of all those people that have used them, 2 have sent me messages saying that on certain early machines with front mount machines with exceptionally heavyweight horn and reproducer combinations putting a great deal of force on the disc and needle, that they've experienced rapid wear on the discs. So, striving to make a perfect product, I've revised the formula, and I wanted to show you the testing that I'm doing. Here we have my mess of a desk, and on the desk is my workhorse standard talking machine, which I've done quite a bit of work to, including an Altona reproducer with some adapters that I made. And for testing the heavier weight placed on the disc, as you can see, I've placed as many wheel weights as I can possibly fit on the reproducer and the front of the tone arm. I also have a low profile jeweler's scale. This scale I use mostly for this exact test. This is part of the testing that I do, is to make sure that the disc can handle the weight. Here we have almost 216 grams. Just for reference, a Victor usually puts about 100 grams of pressure on a disc, and a Grafenola is towards the heavier end of the spectrum with 150. So here we are at 216. Let's see what it does to a disc. Again, this is a slightly revised formula that I've come up with, and it's a new soft tone needle.